Hello everyone, Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the Dairy Edge. PastureBase Ireland figures are for the week: average farm cover of 889 kilos of dry matter per hectare and a growth rate of 5 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Dry matter percentages have increased again since last week, with 17% recorded in Athenry, County Galway, 20% recorded in Oak Park in County Carlow, and 17.5% recorded in Moore Park, County Cork. Looking at the predicted grass growth, rainfall, and soil temperatures for the week, grass growth is starting to slowly increase, but is still more representative of overwinter growth, with a lot of opening average farm covers coming into PastureBase at the minute. This week's predictions are of growths of between 5 and 7 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Rainfall predictions are high for this week, with 50 millimetres of rain predicted for the western seaboard and 20 to 30 millimetres for the east of the country, with a big proportion of this due to fall on Thursday. Soil temperatures are expected to drop back also this week to in the region of 4 degrees. Your Grass10 tips for this week: as we move into February and before the spring workload really gets into gear, aim to get an opening average farm cover completed on PastureBase Ireland. The reason we encourage everyone to do this is to, number one, establish overwinter growth for your farm, which builds more information for you on PastureBase Ireland. Number two, to aid you in planning your February slurry and nitrogen strategy. And number three, to help you to plan out your spring grazing strategy. If you haven't done one, please get your opening average farm cover completed on PastureBase Ireland this week. We would also encourage you to complete a spring rotation planner and a grass budget, as they're invaluable in helping you to manage the grass supply on your farm during the spring. For dry farms, the targets are 30% grazed by the 1st of March, 66% grazed by the 17th of March, and the first rotation completed in early April depending on grass growth rates. These targets are pushed back by a week on heavier farms. If you need help completing a grass budget, there's a link to a tutorial video on this week's Grass10 newsletter. When you have your average farm cover, your rotation planner, and your grass budget completed, identify the first number of paddocks that you want to graze during February and have your temporary reels and posts at the ready. Talking to Brian McCarthy from Teagasc Clonakilty Research Farm in County Cork, they've taken advantage of the good grazing conditions and have been grazing since Monday the 28th of January, with 6% of the farm grazed. They currently have around 45% of the herd calved, and their grazing covers of between 1,000 and 1,200 kilos of dry matter per hectare on average to get cows and first calvers in particular tuned back into grazing. They're allocating 8 kilos of grass, 4 kilos of meal and 2 kilos of silage at night. With the good weather, they were out by day and also getting 2 to 3 hours of grazing in the evening. This is going to be a very fluid situation on farms over the coming weeks, with a lot of cows calving. So allocate 20% extra once or twice per week to ensure you're getting the allocations correct. This will be a very fluid situation on farms over the coming weeks, with a lot of cows calving. So allocate 20% extra once or twice per week to ensure that you're getting allocations correct. Lastly, on slurry and chemical fertiliser, soil temperatures are expected to decrease slightly again for the next week, which will slow growth rates. Rainfall forecasts are quite high, so if you're thinking about spreading slurry or chemical fertiliser, postpone until after Thursday's heavy rain and reevaluate. When spreading slurry, target your silage ground and your low soil index 1 and 2 grazing paddocks. The level of slurry application spread should be at a rate of 2,000 gallons per acre, and it should be dilute. If applying chemical nitrogen, ensure that soil temperatures are above 6 degrees and rising, land trafficability is good, and also check your forecast to make sure that no heavy rainfall is expected. The recommended rates on farm are for between 20 and 23 units of nitrogen per acre, or 25 to 29 kilos of nitrogen per hectare, applied on land that has not received slurry. If you would like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website. And the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. This has been your Grass 10 update, and I will talk to you all next week.